On the date of February 24th, 2024, did you attend a meeting in the mayor's office?
Yes.
Who was present in the room during that meeting?
Captain Slacks, Captain Turner, Captain Ruth, Mayor Maximo Thoroughbred, and a Shaban Thoroughbred.
What was the official purpose of your visit to the mayor's office that day?
Can you be more specific as far as what you're asking?
I'm asking for what did you discuss regarding the act? You mentioned that it came up during a conversation. So what was the discussion? What was the trending topic that you all were talking about?
There was a lot of discussion that happened during the captain's office. I mean, it being one, the issues the captains had with it is they believe that the legislation would not benefit the police department, but in fact would take everything that we've built so far and take it into a completely different direction.
And are you opposed to taking it into a different direction?
Only if it makes sense. I'm all for change. I'm all for trying new things. But at the same time, it can't be at the cost of setting the police department back in time.
What about the act makes you think that it would set the police department back in time?
I'll answer it because I think it gives you perspective on things. I think when the police department was, built up and the federal government chose the captains, they gave them a direction as far as how the PD should be built up and to build on that kind of principle as far as the core values you talked about of accountability, integrity, professionalism, and making sure that officers understand that, you have a lot of responsibility, and with a lot of responsibility comes a lot of power. And to adhere to that, to make sure that, you are the person who is a symbol of justice and you are to inspire and to be the shield at the same time for folks who are weak and vulnerable. And that's kind of the message we're trying to install in people. The captains obviously come together as a three-headed hydra to help keep the police department in check and to also hold each other accountable to have a system of checks and balances. So if one is acting out or one is not doing the right thing, the others do hold them accountable.
How did the other captains hold each other accountable? Can you tell us more about that?
Just like anybody else. If there's any disciplinary action, any procedures broken, you face the same music as other officers.
In the history of the newly established police department, has any captain been disciplined by the other captains?
Yes, I have been disciplined. Captain Turner's been disciplined, so has Captain Ruth.
I see.
I mean, there were, like I said, there's discussion of the city council, discussion of legislation, discussion of hiring, firing, coverage units, recruitment, disciplining action. Folks have been suspended and fired, things like that.
Were there any conversations about the powers or authority of the city council in relation to the police department?
I don't believe I brought it up, but I believe Captain Ruth had.
Okay, and what did Captain Ruth say on that?
I'm not going to speculate. This happened toward the very end. A lot happened before that. That's my answer.
I'm sorry, I didn't. Could you repeat that? I didn't quite catch what you were saying there.
It happened toward the very end.
Okay, but do you remember what was said?
Paraphrasing here, based on what I remember and recall, something along the lines I don't remember.
But we are gathering evidence and determining what happened and if any crime did in fact occur.
Dude,
so you are. That is not an issue for me in this matter.
Absolutely. And keep in mind, like I said, this is paraphrasing. I believe Captain Ruth asked hypothetical question that if the city council can just vote and say they're above the PD, can the captain just vote and say they're above the city council? And I'm paraphrasing here. I don't know if that was said word for word exactly like that. I'm just going off of what I remember and recall.
Okay.
Doing his best to cooperate.
I appreciate that. What made you think that statement was hyperbolic?
Because she was trying to put it in light to try to have the mayor understand exactly how wild and crazy the legislation is from our perspective.
Okay. Selection. The mayor or deputy mayor will collect names submitted by the LSPD in order to submit them to the state. Were you opposed to having a commissioner above the captains?
I mean, like I said, at first, I wasn't open to the idea because I wanted to, have a full fleshed out chain of command within LSPD. My original idea and plan was to propose a chief and ASHI and to completely fill out the LSPD as a whole for moving on to that. And I felt like the commissioner role would be something temporarily that would come in and make some changes, and it wouldn't really continue driving on the fact of what we built in the past, but also maybe go in a different direction. And then for that to be gone after 3 months or a sunset clause to where it expires, then when that is gone, what happens afterwards? You go back to everything being normal before. So that was my concern that I had with it, is because my worry, it wasn't designed a way to help install things into the PD to complete it so it can build on that.
Okay. Let me take you back to Captain Ruth's statement. You keep mentioning that it was hyperbole and it was hyperbolic and that she didn't mean it. How do you know that to be true?
Because at the city council it was heavily discussed. The chief justice himself said it was not treason. Based on what transpired, the mayor provided his side of the story. Myself and Captain Turner provided our side of the story, and the chief justice agreed that it was not treason based on what transpired. We all agreed it was an unprofessional thing to say in front of a mayor.
Okay. Who was present for that city council meeting?
All the city council members, myself, Captain Turner, I believe in Alex Domino, one of the city clerks, Cleus Cornwood. Like I said, the mayor was shouting a lot too as well prior to getting to that point. And I was more concerned that we're going the opposite direction. And instead of working together at the mayor's office, we're here shouting and fighting each other, and we're being kicked out. And he mentioned how it was treason at the beginning when she said something like that, and called us treasonous captains, and he wanted Ruth arrested. And I was like, oh, she's just trying to raise a hypothetical scenario regarding what is happening to give perspective and how it could be or could be perceived in such a way to where, you know, other officers might see it that way, or how it's being, you know, perceived, I guess. So that was my thought process behind it.
Okay. So I'm asking if there was any discussions at all about it.
So I can tell you in the halls, I was in disarray, and I was asking what just happened. What the hell just happened? How do we deal with something like this? What just happened? Or do I go and get ready to pack my stuff? What do we do? Right? And that was kind of the questions I was bringing up. I know Captain Turner and Captain Ruth were talking as well, but obviously in the halls, at first, I was just thinking about what the fuck just happened, right? My mom went somewhere else completely. Not until afterwards, when we got close to the staircase, we started talking more about what just transpired.
Okay. What was the context of the conversation between the captains that you're referring to?
Pretty simple. I said, you know,
Thanks,
being
Bar.
the same is no better. I brought up the point of, hey, we got to be mature about this. That's what I remember saying. We got to be mature and respectful about this. We got to find a way to work with the man. That was kind of my thought process all the time. We cannot stoop down to that level. We can't be immature. We can allow, you know, what happened to Captain Alphys to leave stay in the police department. That was kind of my thought process doing the whole thing.
You mentioned that everyone was shouting at each other. What was Captain Ruth's demeanor when she made that statement?
She was flabbergasted by the comments that Mayor was making, and that's why she kind of just brought that up. And like I said, it was not okay to bring up, right? It was not okay to bring that up.
Well, then I'll just ask about the way that she said it. Did it come off as somebody who was irritated at that time?
Yes, my opinion, a little bit, for sure. Agitated.
Angry?
I wouldn't say angry, because she was not shouting. I had to tell the mayor to stop shouting multiple times.
I'm going to be putting a cone in front of the doors, because I don't want anyone trying to snoop.
Thank you.
Okay. So, Slacks.
Uh-huh.
You got to stop saying we everything, okay?
Look at this. These are my fellow captains who I respect and hold near and dear to my heart. If they're part of the problem, I'm part of the problem, right? Like I said.
No, but I'm saying, you know, you can say there's some things that are we, but then there's some things that what did you do, you know?
Plus, I mean, if they're questioning you, then it should be, you know,
Camera off, RP on.
Your opinions, your thoughts, what you've communicated. You can say what you recollect about what others have communicated if you feel comfortable doing that. But yeah, it's definitely something that, you know, we're here to focus on you. This is your statement.
Yeah, because you don't want to have a we backfire, and then there's all of a sudden there's a track record of, well, we, and then all of a sudden it's woo 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 woo, and they're sending everybody's ass to jail. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Make it just speak from my perspective, not somebody else's collective perspective.
Right. Even if you and other captains do share a perspective, come up with any sort of plan to do anything with that information, I don't think it needs to really be discussed in detail.
I mean, everything was shared. As soon as we went back to Mission RP, our plan of action was to share that.
I keep telling Aphrodite, like, we're not really allowed to do ride-alongs
as far as
right
what
now.
transpired, because the last thing we want to do is what? For people to spin the narrative, or for somebody say this, somebody say that, and for people to not know what happened and what the facts are.
Or to think that the other captains are covering for
Correct.
Captain. Yeah,
exactly.
no, I agree.
And then that's what we told Ruth
you did the right thing.
Right, and that's why we told Ruth to write that down as far as what she said. And even the announcement states, if any officers feel like there's any probable cause to pursue treason, go ahead. Nobody will be punished or, looked at the other way, or any grudge will be held if they do so, right? When you were telling me the names of officers, apparently they didn't write it down and pass it on. So I doubt myself for, file paperwork necessary.
Okay. So you're at 4.
I'm at 3. That was the last one.
Yeah, but I mean, what about the gun one? I mean, I got shot 19 times. I mean, 19. I mean, I got 5 for 1. 19. That's 19 times 5 is like, well, that's like 95. 95 daps. I'm just saying.
Knock knock.
I would need permission to do that. I can't issue 95 daps.
To yourself?
You can come in, Flop.
Okay, I'm just asking if you guys were ready, if you needed a couple more minutes.
I feel like we're ready. What do you think, Cornwood?
Yeah, I think we're
Thoughts?
fine.
Okay.
You guys are ready?
Yeah.
Also, the nightstick thing today. I mean, that was excessive. That's 5.
All right.
I mean, brain damage is a real thing. I'm just saying.
He was hit in the leg, actually. I spoke with him, and he understood it was an accident.
Oh, okay.
And I did apologize. I was trying to put down the IFAC down the ground, and my baton. Yeah.
So he understood it was an accident. Okay.
Yeah. There was
So,
no
so it
sandbags
made
going
no
on.
real impact, right?
No, it made impact, and he
Oh,
was
it
hurt.
did?
and
Okay,
He
okay.
had to be treated, but
Uh-huh.
can you elaborate more? What do you mean by that exactly? Because can you ask the question in a more specific way? Because there's a lot of conversation that we're having.
Jabs here and there.
Let me just state something to you, right? There was obviously a situation that happened outside of MRPD where you posed to DOJ, any lawyer who wishes to take the case against Captain Ruth for potential treason, step forward. I stepped forward. Prior to that, did you have any conversations with any captains about the investigation or potential investigation into charges of treason for Captain Ruth?
We discussed if there's probable cause. That's what we discussed. Because to us, it felt like if there's probable cause, then it should be investigated. It should be looked into as far as that. And we should allow an independent prosecutor to come in and take a look at it from, a third-party perspective, say, yes, there is treason happening here, and let's pursue it on the docket. So that was my thought process, though, after our discussion, is to make sure that, hey, we want to make sure that there is accountability here in the police department, and if a captain does something out of line, they're also held as responsible.
Is it standard operating procedure when an officer is being investigated for a crime for you to provide that potential charge to a special investigator to proceed with an investigation, or was this a special case?
This is something we're trying to. This is something that I personally, as far as our conversation, are trying to push for, to not allow any, conflict or bias or working relationship to get in the way of good faith prosecution.
Okay. And you said that you had discussed whether or not there was probable cause. What was your determination at that time, or did you not make one?
My determination, there was no probable cause for treason, especially after speaking with the Chief Justice.
Okay. And did you participate in or overhear any discussions or comments that indicated that the police department would be considered an equal branch of government?
I believe that Captain Ruth has brought something like that up. I think something about the PD being like a branch of government. I don't remember the exact wording. I'm just remembering.
What are the 3 branches of government to your knowledge?
Well, you got executive branch, right? Judicial, and then legislation one.
So to your understanding, the police department is not a branch of government, correct?
I'm not sure, actually, as far as that, because having a seat at the city council, I thought we were a branch of government, but it was explained to me that was not the case afterwards.
Ah, okay.
No, just say no.
Are you aware that there's a security detail applied to a city council member as early as yesterday?
That was correct. That was the point of contact.
Are you aware of any other requests for a security detail by
yes.
Police belong to the executive branch of government. Yeah, but not in Los Santos.
Who else?
If you don't mind me asking, what does this have to do with the investigation?
This is all tied to Captain Ruth. And I have reason to believe, based on statements collected at this point in time, that there may be a crime that was committed. And I have questions about it. And these are all questions pertaining to that.
A crime other than the treason?
Correct. Something that came up during the investigation.
Okay. Captain Slacks, if you have any information on that, you can share that if you want to. But again, I recommend that you don't speculate.
If there was any other city council member who was recommended for a security detail at any point in time in the last, let's call it 7 days.
Quick question for my clarification. What's the difference between somebody being recommended for it and somebody specifically asking for it on their own behalf?
In this case, an officer made the recommendation
That a council member should be protected.
by a security detail by the police department. Correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the clarification. I appreciate that. If you know about that, you can answer that. If you don't, I suggest not speculating or guessing.
Oh shit.
Slacks?
Oh.
I don't want to speculate in the matter. I know that threats have been made to multiple members of City Council.
Because if people are trying to overthrow
that you're
him,
aware of so far?
then
Define credible.
oh shit.
Someone who has a history of violence, who has perpetrated crimes against people in government before, you know, somebody who is likely to potentially commit the things they are saying that they might do.
There were threats being made, and it seemed like the threats were being they fall through, and people got hurt. And that's all I have to say as far as that investigation, because it is ongoing.
It's an ongoing investigation. Okay.
Yeah, because Siobhan, wasn't it like a take it up the chain of command?
Pause the recording for a moment.
Sure thing.
Oh
just
my
quickly advise,
gosh.
Audio recording is being
No.
paused at 2:40 a.m. EST.
Yeah, you're right.
Local
Ruth
time here in
told
the state of San
Siobhan
Andreas, 14:27.
that she could not have a security detail
I just want to cut through a little
after
bit
the
of BS. I know
kidnappings,
that we have,
like
credible
3
threats
weeks
for
ago.
many things that are going on, and so
Or
I
was
just
it
want to get to the point. I'm going to cut through a little
After
bit of
the
BS. I know
kidnappings,
that we have,
like
credible
3
threats
weeks
for
ago.
many things that are going on, and so
Or
I
was
just
it
want to get to the point. Are these threats the open investigation? I'm not asking for
Yeah. So
details about it.
yeah.
but
So I mean,
I
these
remember,
threats are
dude. I
credible
heard
because
about this in
somebody followed
character.
through with them, and one a city council members or a city council member has been hurt, and one is you know, hiding right now, fearing for her life.
Okay. Can you just tell me which city council member it is? So I know if it's the same one I'm referring to in my line of question.
Perhaps you should tell him who you're thinking of, so he doesn't disclose something that he shouldn't.
All I'll say is if it's the person that you mentioned in the hallway, Xavier, it is not them.
It's not them. Okay.
No.
Okay. Perfect.
It is
Very
not it is not the main two fish.
Okay. So in that case, then that's fine. I'm going to proceed with my line of questioning. Whatever you're talking about with these other city council members, I'm not looking for answers for them. I'll be clear. The one I'm referring to specifically is for Siobhan. Has there been anything like that for her? We're going to turn the recording back on. I'm going to resume this line of questioning with Siobhan in mind, and we'll get to there. Okay.
Hold on. Can I have a moment with Captain Slacks before we turn the recording back on?
How long are you needing, Cletus? We're kind of on a timeline.
Two
We're very
minutes.
strapped for time.
2 minutes.
You get to
2 minutes.
Am I stupid, or do you think that Ruth is behind clapping the city council?
I have no idea what they're
that's not
fishing
what that's
for.
not what they think. That's not that.
Okay,
I
that's what
just,
I thought.
I don't know what it's related to.
That's what in my mind when they're talking about city council getting hurt.
Yeah, no. I just had like a huge epiphany, and I'm trying to be very wise about how I'm going to say this, because I just pieced together like 6 different things that I had learned over the course of the last like month or so. Maybe it was 3-4 weeks. Did you? So this is just for you. This is you, Captain Slacks. Did you call to have PD presence after you and I had that conversation at the town hall meeting? Whenever the mayor called for whenever he was having the conversation with people at City Hall, like he does, he made that state announcement, and then you and I had a conversation prior saying that they don't have help, so I end up going there a lot of times and just standing guard.
Yeah, I did.
So you,
right.
okay. So that was your call. You personally made that call to watch for Siobhan and watch for the mayor.
Correct. Yeah, of course. I mean, because once you brought that up to me, I was like, you know what? When do you stop that? Because they kept telling me they got Fingal Dan down here doing dumb shit, kidnapping the mayor, attacking this and that. So ever since then, we had folks come down there and protect City Hall.
Okay. So you need to remember that, because I just remember that fact, because, and I think it would be wise for you to bring it up at a certain point and make sure you say you made that call specifically. And that's all I'm saying.
Where are they going with this line of questioning?
What
is the whole client sinker here? What are they trying to cast and catch here?
It's too hard for me to explain. I think we're at like 15 seconds left.
what do you know about Officer Campbell? Is she an officer?
Absolutely. I mean, she was one of the people who's looked for skeleton crew.
Okay. And do you trust her judgment?
1,000%.
If she brought a request to have a security detail for a sitting city council member, would you honor it?
Yeah, I mean, if she brought me information that's a credible threat and it's happening, absolutely.
Okay. Are you aware that Captain Ruth was presented with this exact scenario but declined said security detail?
That is news to me.
Captain Ruth never made mention of this to you.
I don't recall ever having a conversation about something like this.
Ooh.
Is that something that discuss?
Shit. Oh, shit.
I mean, this is something that could be handled is from shift to shift to shift because things kind of change depending on the environment we deal with and what kind of criminals out there. So I can't really answer much on that because I don't have much details as far as what you're talking about right now. That would be more of a shift one matter that I don't really attend to often because I'm a shift two guy.
Okay. So captains don't discuss when officers make them aware of credible threats against city council members?
No, I'm saying that if there was discussion, I don't recall, and I don't remember having a discussion about it. That's what I
understood. Okay. I just want to make sure I clarified that.
I mean, if she brought me information that's a credible threat and it's happening, absolutely.
Okay. Are you aware that Captain Ruth was presented with this exact scenario but declined said security detail?
That is news to me.